Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Time for a daily video update. We've got some good setups in the works. Quickly, just a look at the U.S. markets are closed. Everything's kind of done there. We have the elections tomorrow. Remember, that's going to be a big day, and I don't really know what the markets will do, to be honest, but we'll just kind of keep our eye on things and see where they go. Dow today, pretty flat. S&P, pretty flat. Everything just minimal movement, really minimal movement, and that's kind of what I'll expect tomorrow as well. I can't imagine we're going to get any kind of definitive movement either way on election day, so keep your eye on that. Hopefully we're done with the confusion. We've had lots of daylight savings between Australia, Europe, UK, various parts of Asia, and now the US and Canada have finally, I think the daylight saving situation has been completed. You can see this right here. So I think we should all be on the ultimate time zone that we're going to be on now. So let's just try to square our clocks away and make it to the markets when they open and kind of catch up with things. As far as news goes this week, we've seen quite a bit of news. Australian dollar's been moving all over the place. We had retail sales came out a little bit better than expected. Trade balance was a little bit better than expected. Today we've had a couple of announcements. Some Spanish unemployment news, which is horrendous as always, of course. Services PMI for the UK has came out a little bit worse than expected. We had the ISM for the US a little tiny bit worse than expected. Then we have Australian interest rate announcements, and those are coming up in the next couple of hours here. About 5 hours or so, we'll see that out. So keep an eye on that. Australian interest rate news will be a big one. Coming into tomorrow, into Tuesday, we have some more European news, manufacturing production out of the UK, nothing major out of the US, just a couple of announcements from nothing too exciting. And then Wednesday we have some employment numbers for New Zealand and Australia. Those are big movers, so we'll keep an eye on that in the afternoon hours. Thursday, interest rate announcements out of Europe and UK. Those are going to be big movers. We'll keep watch for that. We'll have some live sessions for all of that, and then we're going to end the week with some a little bit of U.S. and Chinese news. Okay, so having said all that, we've got some good things we need to look for here. Euro dollar has made a nice little run down. We had a good 1 hour head and shoulders pattern. Non-farm payroll news ran this down, and it's just going down, down, and down. Remember that my target here, we've had a heck of a time getting below this 200-day moving average. It's just been nearly impossible. And so we finally have made a clean break of that on this daily chart, which we can see right there. We had a nice little reversing candle, good little shooting star here, taking things back down. And then we saw that big move again with non-farm payroll, and then things have opened down a little bit today. We've seen a little bit of a gap though, and so I'm looking for a bounce somewhere in this area here. We have a gap on the daily chart. We have a couple of things to look for on some of the smaller time frames, but ultimately my target is 127.50. I think the market is going to reach 127.50. We got down to 127. The low right here was 127.67. I think we're going to get to 40.50 still. Maybe we reached it, maybe we didn't, but I think we've got one more push lower. The one thing that I'm looking at though, we've got some missed pivots here. We've got a couple of things. The market's run down pretty solidly with little retracement. So if we kind of go from this high to low of the recent movement here, I'm kind of looking for some runs, very likely up into this 128.65 and into potentially the 128.80s here. So that's the kind of retracement I'm looking for. We're looking for basically about a 38 to 50% retracement on this whole movement here. So one thing that I'm going to be looking for is an open above the daily pivot. As we open on the 1 hour chart above this daily pivot, that could be the starting point of this retracement and of a little bit of a move higher. Again, I'm not looking for a huge run, but I think we have a potential of as much as 70 to 80 pips up over the next little while. So we're going to keep our eye on that and be ready for that kind of movement there. If for some reason the markets just do not retrace and that's it, this is a consolidation, they're heading lower and they're not going to get above that daily pivot point, then what I'm going to be looking for is just a simple breakout with stops above this daily pivot here, and get back in under this trend line to get another one more attempt at reaching the 127.50 area, which would give us a nice 40 pip or so run, and I think we've got a decent chance of that happening. So those are kind of the two scenarios that I'm going to be looking at. But ultimately, again, if we look at the weekly chart, we've come off the top of this channel very nicely. We've come off the 38% fib very nicely. Everything should just really be able to continue down from here, and I think it's going to be able to. Um, Not too interested in anything on the pound dollar at this point. Watch the daily pivot, the typical play on the daily pivot. I think we've got a potential run into these kind of missed areas, so we could see some larger than expected retracement. Look for an open above the daily pivot here, which is around 159. Well, we're right at about 159.90, 159.90, 160. Look for a move above that daily pivot and up to and through 160. Keep an eye on that. We should see some nice moves there. Other than that, not too interested in anything other than a little bit of retracement. Euro yen has done a couple of things. This is an interesting pair. We've had lots of consolidation here, and this thing is really testing our trend channel. It's been running up this daily, over and over and over again, and it may just be able to continue on forever and never break out of this channel. But we've been in it for 3 solid months now, 3.5 months, and I think we could be nearing a point that this is ready to break out and start in a new direction here, which would be down. So looking at that, you can see that there's lots of support. We have lots of moving averages. We have lots of kind of residual uptrend here that this pair has been keeping on. We had that nice little weekly pin bar that reversed everything and has kind of started this downward move. And I think there's more left to this downward move. But again, looking for some retracement, looking for a bounce above the daily pivot up into the 103.30s. And from there, I'm going to be looking to short the euro yen back down. Again, that's not a horrendous amount, 60 to 65 pips from current market price up there. So we're going to watch that. We're going to keep an eye on that and see if we get a move up into that. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of look for some breakouts and some short-term movements down, very much like the euro dollar, where we're just going to look for some nice little trend line runs and so on, and see if we can get some breakouts and some movements to come down and retest these lows. So we've got a 20 to 30 pip run, but I really think the bigger, better run is going to be open above this daily pivot, get some retracement up into the 200-day moving average, into some of this resistance of the 10300, 10330s area, and then short from there. So buy up into that area, sell off of that area. Aussie dollar, remember that we've got on the Aussie dollar, we've got some news. Aussie anything, we've got news. And so just be ready for that. Keep an eye on that. This Aussie dollar is chopping around. It's trying to break up through this level, but remember, news will do a whole bunch of stuff on it. We've got some big reversal candles and some big things happening at this double top. So I think technically speaking, the Aussie dollar's got some further downside to it. But we've got this 200-day moving average here as well. That's been a really complicated, tough one to get down below, but so far 10400 has kind of held the market pretty well. Like I said, I don't really have too much of an idea of what I'm going to do with this Aussie dollar just yet. I'm still bearish on the pair, but I want to see how the employment numbers come out. And the same thing's going to be with the Aussie yen. I want to see how these employment numbers come out, and that will really give us a good idea of what we should be looking for. But remember, the Aussie yen, also a very nice reversal candle up here at this high 83, 83.40-ish area, and I think we've got some good possibilities of this continuing lower and giving us some runs lower. So nice reversal candle on that daily chart. We're just seeing some of that retracement. Hopefully that's going to give us a good signal to start trading this thing back down and shorting it from near current market prices to all the way up into these highs, somewhere in this little area of kind of 50 pip range. But we're not going to know that until the news comes out, and so we're going to just kind of sit aside on the Aussie dollar, not do too much on there until the news comes out, and then we'll be jumping further into that. Gold is giving us a little bit of retracement. I think gold's going to start to give us some pullback as well. So be watching for gold, be watching for some of these movements back up into the 1700 area and into 1715. So keep an eye on that. For all those gold traders, make sure you're ready to do something on this short recent move here. We've just about bounced off that 50% fib and the 200-day moving average. So some nice moves there. Best of luck, guys. More details coming out on Twitter, and we'll see you in the live chat for some further trades and entries. Thanks, everyone, and best of luck.